Okay, we're continuing with quotes in alphabetical order from people who said interesting things in Western civilization. So the first one is Rudyard Kipling, the Englishman. He lived from 1865 to 1936. He wrote the Just So story for kids, his own kids. And it's been said too, much of Darwinian evolution biology explanations of things are just so stories. Edith Hamilton, the great Greek scholar, said Kipling has something akin to Pindar, the ancient Greek poet, with his characteristic speed of movement and strength of stress. Yeah, he's entertaining. Kipling quote, hot and bothered. Okay. He wrapped himself in quotations as a beggar would unfold himself in the purple of emperors. The silliest woman can manage a clever man, but it needs a very clever woman to manage a fool. If history were taught in the form of stories, it would never be forgotten. And that's a great quote because you think about history, they deliberately in the public school system teach you all these dates and stuff, and everybody forgets everything. But if you remember the story, you remember the story of Alexander the Great, of Socrates, of Julius Caesar, of Boethius. That would be memorable. There is no sin so great as ignorance. Asia is not going to be civilized after the methods of the West. There is too much Asia, and she is too old. Words are, of course, the most powerful drug used by mankind. I keep 6 honest serving men. They taught me all I knew. Their names are what, why, and when, and how, and where, and who. Okay, one learns more from a good scholar in a rage than from a score of drudges. Yeah, typical, college professor's just going to read out of a book. Some guy, when he's old and he's pissed off, he's been ostracized, he'll teach you a lot. I wonder who that reminds me of. Rudyard Kipling, if this is the big poem, If, just a couple lines from the big If poem. If you can keep your wits about you while others are losing theirs and blaming you, the world will be yours and everything in it. What's more, you'll be a man. So yeah, basically keep your cool. It gives you more ability to deal with a complex situation. Here's a quote of Lisa Kirk, and this is not... she's not related to the modern Charlie Kirk stuff. This is just an old quote I had just sitting here. A gossip talks about others. A bore talks about themselves. A great conversationalist talks to you about yourself. Okay. Now a little bit from Russell Kirk, sort of one of the old school conservative guys. He says, if you want to have order in the Commonwealth, you have to first look to order in the individual soul. Yeah, it's kind of like Will Durant. Will Durant said in order to have a civil society, people have to have morality. But in order to have morality, they have to have religion. In order to have religion, they have to be taught when they're young. So young people have to be taught religion. And I agree with that. It's the most important thing to teach young people. And they learn a lot from it. They'll remember all those Bible stories. Nobody remembers what they teach in the public schools. You remember Bible stories. Okay. Every right is married to a duty. Every freedom owes a corresponding responsibility. And there cannot be genuine freedom unless there also exists a genuine order in the moral realm, in the social realm. Yeah, it's been known for a long time. Religions hold a society together. What does religion mean? It means relegare, legare, to ligate, to tie the people together. I am a conservative. Quite possibly I am on the losing side, yet I would rather lose with Socrates than win with Lenin. Schooling deprived of religious insights is a wretched education. Yeah, that's public schools right there. The purpose of public schools is to turn kids away from religion, to turn them against their parents, to make them conformist, chumps, wimps, wage slaves. Okay, employees. Politics moves upwards into ethics, and ethics ascends into theology. Yep, you can't have it without. You can't have a country without a religion. Atheism is a religion. It's the religion of slavery. Okay, the ACLU has been able to harass out of existence public expressions of faith. Yeah, they pretend to be promoting civil rights, but what they're really doing is destroying them and trying to bring back slavery. In general, almost anything on this hand, it's called the left, is like the opposite of what it says to be. So it says it's in favor of civil liberties, but its goal is to bring back slavery, to destroy them. Okay. The secular city, having legislated and litigated itself out of any entanglement with the city of God, would be hell on earth. Yeah, what do you think happens whenever you have atheism? You have communism, and everybody's a slave except for the Communist Party. Okay, next is Henry Kissinger. He lived from 1923 to 2023. He said, do the most important thing that you can think of doing every year, and your career will take care of itself. 90% of politicians give the other 10% a bad reputation. The illegal, we do immediately. The unconstitutional takes a little bit longer. Okay, then he says, power is the greatest aphrodisiac. And that's a little bit like Rodney Dangerfield. Rodney Dangerfield said, there's no such thing as an ugly rich guy. The rules are different depending on the context, okay? If a guy's rich, it doesn't matter. If he's tall, it doesn't matter. Okay? All right. Henry Kissinger continues. It's not a matter of what is true that counts, but a matter of what is perceived to be true. If you control food, you control a nation. If you control energy, you control a region. If you control money, you control the world. Today, Americans would be outraged if UN troops entered Los Angeles to restore order, but tomorrow they will be grateful. This is especially true if they were told that there was an outside threat from beyond, whether real or promulgated, that threatened our very existence. It is then that all the people of the world will plead with world leaders to deliver them from this evil. The one thing every man fears is the unknown. When presented with this scenario, individual rights will be willingly relinquished for the guarantee of their well-being granted to them by their world government. Okay, so hope you found that helpful.